Hey guys, we're going to talk about court applications and all of this fancy stuff that we heard about today. It's important for you to understand that amaBhungane are liars, they're part of a theft, and they're trying to cover it up using News 24 and a few other tabloids that they're linked to. So I'm just going to explain to you what happened. It's quite funny, and you're going to see the funny bits just now. But they were involved in a theft. And why I say they're involved in a theft? Because someone stole our documentation and everyone's asking about this. We took a charge against this person. This person disseminated the documents directly or indirectly to amaBhungane. And they were informed by Paul O'Sullivan, myself, and Moti Group that there was stolen stuff. Fantastic. They did nothing about it. They kept it and they sent it to another country. And now and then they just pull it and send us info and ask us questions on a specific item on a page, which is ridiculous. And they write to you guys. It's amazing. They write. It's a Thursday afternoon or a Monday. They write. They say, "Hi, from amaBhungane. These are your questions. 10 questions. We need it by 12 o'clock tomorrow." Jesus, I must just stop doing exactly what I'm doing. Stop running a business. Stop not worried about anything else. And I must focus on this. But I'm not in the business of not cooperating. I always answer. I've never gagged anyone. Neither has Moti Group ever under my control gagged any institution from writing something, etc. We just took it with the punches as we went along. Anyway, so they have this product, our material, it's stolen, it's hidden away in another country, and now and then they utilize it and write these nonsense bullshit stories, which gets me hot under the collar, but as you can see, I'm not wearing a collar. So today is a casual day. Anyway, so what went on is amaBhungane initially, when they wrote to us, we wrote and said, listen, you're in possession of stolen stuff. And they had this attorney, amazing guy, I can't bloody remember his name. He's from one of these big firms. It was something like hot chocolate, it was Milo. I know it's that Milo because it's one of my favorite drinks. But anyway, Mr. Milo writes back to us and he says, we don't have your documentation, but all our stuff's overseas on a server. Now, why would somebody in South Africa writing stories in South Africa keep their stuff overseas? And they'll say for safety reasons. It's a lie. They have stolen stuff, they keep it overseas so you can't catch them with it. So they avoid us going with a Anton Pillar. That's what they were talking about. Anton Pillar is where you go and seize your stolen items or documents from someone. They said, don't come. This is the Milo guy, the Milo, yeah, Mr. Milo. Don't come, you'll get nothing here. We say, okay, fine. We again write and say, please stop this harassment. But Joe, or should I say, Sam, he keeps on doing this nonsense, stalking me, harassing my life, etc. I leave it. He continues writing more and more stories. Eventually, we trap this guy because he sends us a document. In fact, he sent the Moti Group the document, and he asks questions in it, and we metadata this thing. I hope I'm pronouncing that thing right, metadata or metadata. And we find that document was on our system and part of the stolen documents. Now we have some proof. And as when I wrote to them, I said, it's akin to you leaving your business card at a bank robbery. I think I wrote something like that on my behalf. Anyway, we say to them, but this document actually belongs to us, and now we've caught you red-handed. You have the documents. In fact, another attorney comes along and in another representation by Sam and his cronies, they argue that I want to arrest them, which was lies. I've never applied for the arrest of any journalist, and I won't do that, please God. But he goes and creates this whole lie with the NPA. It looks stupid because he has disinformation. But his attorney comes along and says, you know what, we have the documents. I can't remember this guy's name now. Sorry, forgive me. He's a criminal attorney. Nonetheless, as Moti Group brings this application to court on Thursday, it's done ex parte because it's done on an urgent basis because they're fearful of what the outcome would be. If they were given knowledge, they could destroy the information, get rid of it, pretend that they don't have it again, all of that nonsense. In any event, they get the order. This is win number one. They get the order. And there's a competent judge there. A competent judge listens to their legal representation and gets the competent order. They served the order on Thursday night. Obviously, hair starts standing at amaBhungane because they got an order. And what do they want? What does the order say? It says, give back the Moti files, as they call it, in 48 hours. And you're not allowed to print any more rubbish around this, particularly with regard to the stolen documents. So they're in a quandary. 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, Mr. Milo, he sends a mail, he says it's not enough time, 48 hours. I think their team goes back and says about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, no problem, you can have 72 hours. I mean, how difficult can it be to download a couple of files, even if it's 4,000 documents, you download it, it's in a folder, you give it back. I'm sure they'll keep a copy, being dishonest fellows. But in any event, we say, give our documents back so we know what we're talking about. They come back and they say, 72 hours is still not enough. This is late afternoon now. And we say, okay, you know what, take 30 days. It's fine, 30 days. Maybe they need to send it by boat, I don't know, from overseas. Maybe they're sending it by foot, I don't know. But we say, take your full 30 days. 9 o'clock at night, they get an application, Moti Group. 9 p.m. on a Friday that says, come to court on a Saturday at 9:30. No one's dying, no kids under threat, no persons under threat. There's no serious there's no serious circumstances that require to have such an urgent representation in front of a judge. Abuse of the system, abuse of the law. But now they're saying, you know what, if we don't give it in 48 hours, what will effectively happen is we'll be in breach of a court order. But we've given them 30 days. Anyway, but we didn't want them to have our stuff, so we said we give you 30 days, but you must please make sure that you give it to an independent attorney. I'm sorry I'm boring you with the details, but it's important for you to understand, because they go on and slant the story and make it look like they won something. They won nothing. Saturday morning comes, 9:30, in front of a judge. The guys do their representations, Moti Groups. I watched it, I was online. All the media was there. All the cronies of, what do they call it, of amaBhungane. And Ajahn Bason was there. I'm sure he had better things to do on a Saturday. Thanks for your time, Ajahn. Anyway, so we go through the process and we find that they ask for the following in the application. They say, we want a punitive order against Moti Group. And number two, more importantly, apart from the punitive order for costs, what we want is the entire order to be cancelled. And they argue and they come to the following conclusion. After the judge almost beats them to death on costs, tells them they're not supposed to be there on an urgent basis, which is true. They abuse the court's time. But the judge eventually says, okay, let them keep your material until the matter is fully ventilated in the normal course of business. And we say, fine, no problem, that's okay. But they don't give a cost order against us, the judge. And neither does he cancel the so-called gag order. It wasn't a gag order, guys. It was an order to return our stuff. And in the alternative, to stop writing nonsense and rubbish about us based on fake documents and documents that were stolen and or altered. So there we find ourselves in that position. They then come out of there, and as amaBhungane would do, spin a story. They let News 24 help them spin the story. They let a couple of his other cronies who help him spin the story. They get on radio. And all this time, I was just quiet because I'm observing. I'm not in Moti Group. I'm observing from the outside and watching these two fight. And Dondo Mohajani was a thorough gentleman. He just kept silent, went about it like a professional corporate, and dealt with it that way. I'm no longer with them, and I'm the voice now to say what I think about it. So they start writing and they say, oh, you know what, they did well. They canceled a portion of the order. The only portion canceled was the fact that they could keep the material until such time as a new date is found by the court to hear the matter. But now they're stuck with this problem and predicament. You know what the problem is, guys? The problem is quite easy. It isn't about Milos and cookies here anymore, guys. The problem is about the following. They have to actually go under oath and for the first time say where they got this information, how they got it, because they argue that they got it rightfully. How the hell can they get my information rightfully? It's illegal. It's stolen, man. And secondly, how in the world are they going to explain how they wrote those ridiculous articles, or if the material they have is authentic, or if it's been tampered with? They also didn't argue the fact that they never got it from a guy called Clinton, who used to work for me. So this particular guy, Clinton, worked for me, and they know they've been involved one way or the other in getting the information, but they never deny that they got it from him. They also never deny that they know that it's stolen stuff or that they shouldn't have it. Anyway, I'm telling you all of this for a reason. And that reason is because I do not like the fact that media lie and misrepresent. And I'm not generalizing. When I'm talking about this media, people, it's only amaBhungane. I don't have a problem with anybody else. I never have, and please God, I never will. But what's interesting is how Sam, clandestinely, I mean, you've seen what he looks like. I don't want to tell you what I think. But the fact is, when I look at this guy, he looks so... Right, coming back to the more important things. I don't want to finish that sentence. Don't let me. The issue for me is he now tries to bring the Institute of Editors, or I don't know, into this particular thing. I don't even know their name, South African, I think, Institute of Editors or something like that, into this fight. He tries to consolidate and join the balance of the media in his stupid and ridiculous fight with us. It's ridiculous. Nobody knew Sam Sol was. He was a guy that did a good work a little bit, maybe a couple of years back. I'm not sure about it. I understand from a couple of his peers he was great, but he's washed up now and he's doing nonsense. But I want you guys to take a stand with me, my entrepreneurs, my brothers, my sisters, my family. Please go out there, populate this so that everybody can understand exactly what happened and not be lied to, and open the newspaper and read more and more lies. Anyway, I'm signing out. See you guys. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Cheers.